I put it up, yeah. I just pull up on the kid. I just pull up on the kid. I just pull up on the kid, yeah. I just pull up on occasion. I spice it up like it's Cajun. Never ask for location.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Stars Experience. I am your host, Jonathan Rizk. I am joined with a co-host today, owner, founder, former Super Bowl champion, Sensei.
I don't need the intro. He could just give him the.
He'll get his. Right. I'm excited about this one.
It's a Raider. We got a Raider today.
I know. I had to wear my not really showing I'm a Raider fan, but low-key Raider gear with the Gary and Conley shirt.
I didn't even
notice that. No, see? Because I don't want to come here fanboying out. Right, so I could have face painted it up like I'm in the black hole again. But I was like low-key, subtle, like Raider fans will know, oh, he's a Raider fan.
I'm proud of you, man, because I know you're a real Raider fan. That's impressive, too.
I got to show you the pictures of me. I'm painted up. I'm there. I was at the first preseason game. Anyways, I'm here with Jason Davis, founder, owner, co-host. And our host today, he was a linebacker. Now he's a fullback. Former Dallas Cowboy. Boo. Current Oakland Raider player. Keith Smith, how you doing?
I'm good, man.
Welcome to the Stars Experience.
Appreciate it.
Where it's a little off the rails today, but it's okay. It's going to be a good one.
Hey, I'm going to enjoy it.
It's going to be a really good one. So here at the Stars Experience, what we like to do is we like to give the fans, the outside people, an inside view at Stars. And everybody listening, this is episode, I believe, will be number 4. Go subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications so you get alerted to all these episodes. You good?
Damn.
Boy, don't play, yeah.
Nah, because we got to get the subscribers up. And if you're listening on iTunes, go scroll all the way down and give us a 5-star rating so we climb up those charts. We need the stars. And then list a comment of who you want to hear later. Antonio Brown, I'm talking to you. Is that okay?
Hey, B would be a good podcast. It'd be interesting.
He would be a good podcast, especially once he gets that trade. I'm calling it right now. The Raiders are going to trade.
I knew where this was going. I knew it. That's the only reason why you brought him up, because he wanted to go to the Raiders. That's cool.
Look, do I want him? Obviously, because he's a great player. I mean, look, the personality, though. The Raiders are already y'all are stacked.
I think that's just added publicity. Sure.
Yeah.
You're going to Vegas anyway.
Y'all going to Vegas? The question is, are you going to Vegas?
That's the plan.
Okay.
I literally attack every day now is get to Vegas. Got to get to Vegas. Because I'm on a 2-year deal, so this is my last year coming up. And that's the goal, trying to get to Vegas. Hopefully we win it this year. But, regardless, I'm trying to get to Vegas. So.
I hope you come to Vegas, too, because that's going to be that first year in Vegas. Mark my words. You saw how the Vegas Knights did it in the NHL.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
Vegas special.
That's all I've heard too is just the Vegas fans, just all that, the nights, like it was just crazy, like going in there. So even I actually just had got back from Vegas for one of my boys' bachelor parties, and just talking to people out there, like the drivers and whatnot. They're like, man, everybody can't wait till you guys get here. Like, people are going nuts. Like, the Raiders have already taken over out there, so it's going to be dope.
What about, like, the players? Are they talking about it already? Is there, like, a buzz in the locker room?
What? I mean, we talking about that money.
How can y'all not talk about it? They didn't know where they were playing. They still don't. It's still not set in stone if they're playing in Oakland this year.
Yeah.
Is it for sure yet?
They said it's close to being finalized with the option for next year if the stadium gets backed up, which it might, because I heard it was snowing like a week ago.
What?
Because the Raiders have a simulcam of the stadium being built on their website, and I peep it every now and then. And it was snowing last time I checked last week.
I heard it was at 50% though, 50% done.
Finish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they going at it.
Yeah.
But see, it's sad that I don't even know where we play. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask you a question? So there's a guy on the staff, the construction team building the stadium out there that's a Chiefs fan.
Oh,
so did you see this? You saw this or no?
I didn't see it.
This dude buried a Chiefs Kingdom flag at the 50-yard line already, and then when they put the seats in, first person to sit in the stadium.
That's rude. That's rude.
That's straight.
This is why I don't mess with the Chiefs.
That's disrespectful. Yeah, that's not cool. Like,
nah. So, yeah, I'm pissed.
That guy shouldn't be working in the stadium no more.
Nah.
Man, they gotta
if I was Mark, I'd be like,
They gotta redig that
do-
field.
we
That's
do-
the only option.
Yeah.
That's the only option.
Like, how does Mark let that happen? Like, Mark doesn't have a say. Like, pull that man. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want no one to lose their job, obviously, but
Right.
That's being disrespectful to the. They're hiring you to build a stadium.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not cool.
absolutely. That's just
well, I mean, is the Raiders really hiring them, or is Vegas hiring? Let's be real. I mean, as much as a home,
Yeah, Mark's probably not looking at the payroll like, oh yeah, let's get this guy.
I don't even know if he's touching that payroll. Be honest with you,
Right.
because isn't
It's a lot of
the
investment.
the taxpayers
Yeah, it
investment?
goes
George
into-
Lopez might own 70% of the stadium. We don't know.
Yeesh.
That man was. Did you see him at the? Were you there at the groundbreaking ceremony?
no, I wasn't.
I know there were a
that
couple.
was not too long ago, right?
Yeah, George Lopez came out looking terrible.
What?
George
He came
was
out. Yeah,
Is he a Raider fan?
Yeah,
Is he a
George
Raider?
Lopez is a huge Raiders fan. He
Okay.
came out looking. He was the host of the
Oh,
ceremony.
that's what I was about to say. Why was he even involved?
Yeah, no, he was the host of it. That man, look, he had a mustache, goatee. He just look.
He had a rough night in
tired.
Vegas.
He has looked
Night
the
before.
same my whole life
got in
growing
early.
up watching the George Lopez show, but seeing him lately.
It's
But we could talk
hard
about
to-
Raiders all day.
Let's talk about Keith, man. Let's see.
Yeah.
what's Keith
So
Smith's
growing up
going
in California,
Yep.
you went to San Jose State. Was that your first option, San Jose State?
It wasn't. I had a few things on the board. I actually, had my mom in my ear talking about all the Ivy League schools and whatnot. So like I was thinking about it for a second, and then looking at the football team, I'm like, I don't know. Like that was the ultimate goal. So I actually had early offer early in my high school career, like my junior year, to Utah. But somehow communication fell through there, and when I tried to reach out, like, yo, I'm trying to go,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, that fell through. But then I had Colorado, actually official visited to Colorado, and I actually enjoyed my visit to Boulder, and it was real traditional feel in Boulder and stuff, and like just watching Jason's highlights in college. I know he ran up that little hill, getting a little pick six action. So like it was a big stage, and I kind of I was real intrigued by that, but it was kind of far from my family
Right.
as far as to see me play and whatnot, and it sucks that after I signed with San Jose State, they moved to the Pac-12 and play every school
Right.
on the West Coast. But God doesn't make mistakes, and it worked out how it was. But in San Jose, it just the opportunity looked good. I took an official visit. The guys around me who were committed there as well, they're winners and came from winning programs and that winning mentality, and I kind of seen that, and we kind of just gelled even on our official visit. But also it was like I had that mentality, like I'm trying to play right away, like I'm coming in and I'm trying to contribute. So looking at the roster and stuff, and they didn't really have any big names or nothing like who was real established.
And
I
did they
was like-
recruit you as a linebacker?
Yeah, they
Okay.
did, and the crazy thing is, they offered me like a week before signing day, like two or 3 weeks before signing day. It was late rush because, well, actually I had the offer on the table, but like they really pushed for me like late in the recruiting process due to Mike McIntyre. He came in from Duke,
Okay.
and he seen my film and he was like, "Man, I love you. Like I'm trying to bring you in. We're gonna do some big things," which we ended up doing. And just on the visit, Mike had a good mentality. The linebacker coach, he was cool. He was real vested and had a lot of experience. So I just looked at all those things and it was like, it's just a good fit. And I was like, shoot, San Jose it is, and it's not far from home. So
So was that 8 hours?
it's actually like if you do it right,
If you're
you can,
driving fast.
if you
you're
do it
driving
right,
fast.
if
You're
you do
speeding,
it right,
yeah.
it's around 5 hours.
5 hours? Okay.
5 to 6.
Well, I guess
but
that makes sense because I went to San Jose like a weekend ago, and that was like 2 hours from me.
You drove.
Yeah, I
Where
drove.
are you from?
I'm
where
from
you-
Jersey,
where you
but
live?
I'm stationed at Vandenberg, which is an hour north of Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like right there, which is funny. I'm right there next to the court that Michael Jackson got tried at. I was watching that Michael Jackson documentary. Did y'all see that on HBO?
No.
Nah.
Oh yeah, crazy.
Oh, the Leaving Neverland.
yeah.
I seen
heard-
it on
I
there.
feel like I
I
heard
didn't
about it.
watch it though.
Nah,
It's
compelling.
not good for Mike though, right?
He could skate away with it.
No, it's not good.
Nah, he could skate away with it. There was no facts.
Okay.
There were no facts laid out. It was just the two testimonies of the individuals, and the one dude I don't trust at all.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't
nah.
like a Bill Cosby situation.
Yeah, nah, the one dude, I still think Bill innocent. Ain't no one say nothing about Bill until he was talking about buying CBS.
Man.
Let a
Conspiracy
black man
theory.
try to buy a $1 billion
I didn't hear about
company.
I
that.
didn't hear about that either.
Oh yeah, no,
That's
that
crazy.
man's like, I'ma buy CBS. Second he say that,
That's interesting.
Everybody.
Conspiracy theory.
yeah, nah.
Bro, so San Jose State, yeah, San Jose State.
We on Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
San Jose Bill Cosby.
It's good.
San Jose State, you get a chance to play early, man. What was that like going in as an 18-year-old, getting
Man,
to play big time college football?
we talking big time because I didn't realize before I signed that the first game was against Alabama, and this is when they had Trent Richardson, Mark Ingram, Julio Jones, Eddie Lacy was the third string back. Just all these dudes, you know, they was stacked.
Oh, that's a great film.
It wasn't Los Altos High School.
No, it was not. It was not Los Altos. It was definitely the big time stage.
Los Santos from Grand Theft Auto.
No, Los Altos.
Nah,
GTA.
Right.
Sorry.
nah, but once I seen that, it was just even more exciting because it was like, yeah, I'm not in the big stage in San Jose, but I get to play the best players
Right.
in there. So we actually that first year we had the number one hardest schedule in the NCAA, and we had played Alabama. We played Stanford when they had Andrew Luck. We played Wisconsin when they were stacked with all them dudes.
Yeah. Was Wilson still there at that point?
Oh, I don't. He may have been.
Was Russell there?
Russell Wilson?
Or was that?
You would remember. If you played against Russell, you probably would remember.
No. He wasn't
okay.
there. He wasn't there. I don't think he was there yet.
Bro, you're not older
Did he
than
get
Russell.
red shirt?
What year did he come out?
You're not older than Russell Wilson, are you?
No, but
No, Russell Wilson's.
2 or 3 years older than you. So
yeah.
Maybe.
Is he?
But that's what I'm saying.
We
like,
might need Brandon
did
to
he
fact
come?
check that. Could we get
I'm Russell Wilson.
His last year in college.
Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is, where's the Wikipedia? 5'11". Okay, thanks for that information.
I know he wasn't there when we played that year,
Oh yeah. So then.
but I'm not sure when.
it was after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he might have transferred in or whatever.
He was drafted 2012.
Yeah, 2012.
Oh, okay, so then he was gone before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know
Yeah,
he
he's
was
30 years
that
old.
old. I didn't know he was
he's
that old.
there. No.
Bama, Wisconsin.
Yeah. And just even in our conference, we had some good talent at Utah State, and when Bobby Wagner was there,
Right.
and a few other schools, but it was a big stage and the spotlight, you know what I'm saying, and that's really when you want to turn it up. So just coming out that first game, first college game ever in front of 102,000, I was just like, I kid you not, like in warm-ups I was so hyped, like I was like just looking out and just like you know, like I'm a high energy type dude, so I'm out here screaming like like first kickoff, I'm dead before kickoff. I'm like, bruh, I shouldn't have been wilding like that, but it was a lot of enthusiasm and adrenaline running through your veins, going through stuff like that. So like it was definitely a good opportunity and definitely a good experience. And I actually didn't start that game, but I ended up getting in like in the second quarter, and then like the rest was kind of history because I was actually doing my thing, making some plays. And the one play I do remember though is it was a screenplay to Trent Richardson, and I'm like, I read it to a T.
Right.
In the backfield, I'm like, oh, TFL against Alabama, let's go. jumped on his back, slid right down, and he jumped out my tackle. I'm like, dang, like this the real deal. But it definitely was a good icebreaker and definitely a confidence booster in a sense too. I mean, we got our butts whooped, but still, I mean, it was fun. It was fun.
I read a stat somewhere, and I might be wrong. I'm always confused about this. Maybe you can help me out with this. The FBS in NCAA, what does that typically stand for?
The difference in
Yeah.
stat, I'm not quite sure.
Do we know?
Myself, FBS, because I've seen that before. Too.
Is that like the main
Football-
one?
Football bowl division, or
Okay, that's what I thought it
football
was.
Sub bowl division or something.
Or is
like
it? So, is like Alabama and them in FBS?
everybody?
Everybody's in FBS. Okay.
I don't know
Regardless,
what it
this
is.
was a crazy stat. 2013, you were the leading tackler in Division One
Jeez.
that?
FBS.
Yeah, man.
How many did he have? Do you
crazy.
remember?
136.
My senior year?
2013 was the year. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure the stat
No,
was.
it was my senior year was
Okay.
and I think it was 159.
He
Yeah,
didn't want you to cut him short.
Nah,
He
that's
didn't-
fine.
he
Look.
want all his
Yeah, I was
tackles.
like,
He
what?
want
I also saw from
59.
Wikipedia, so you know someone could have edited this
Yeah.
morning. You know,
Yeah.
Denver fan over here. Hey,
Right.
130. Either way, it's a lot of tackles, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was but it was definitely a humbling experience going through that, and then getting no love after that. So like as far as the recruiting process into the league went, so I mean, it definitely was a slap in the face in a sense, but put a chip on my shoulder going forward from my college career. So
And to get the number correct, it's 159. That averages to 13.3 tackles a game,
right.
which is a lot of tackles. Still says 2013 here, but
Well,
the
13, 14.
13,
years,
14.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, years are always confusing with football because it goes into another year.
Yeah.
But so you end up after playing at San Jose,
Right.
you come down to Stars, get your pre-draft on, and
Right.
then the draft comes and you go undrafted,
Yeah,
but you get picked up by the Dallas Cowboys.
right.
What? So how long were you one of those right after the draft they called you up, or did you sit there a little bit?
Yeah, no, I actually had a few calls like in the 7th round, so I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get drafted in the 7th round." Like, yeah.
You want to say who those were?
I think the Chargers called me.
Okay.
The Niners called me.
So everyone whose
Cowboys.
backyard you were in.
Right. And I think the Falcons called me.
Okay.
And I actually they actually all told me like stay by your phone, like blah blah blah, like we're thinking about taking you in the 7th round, but possibly as a what is it called, a
Priority
free agent. And I was like, oh, okay.
What does that
like,
mean?
man,
Priority free agent.
So, like, to my understanding, it's the guys who
preferred walk on.
basically. So they want you, but they just don't want you enough to draft you.
Right. It's
Okay.
like-
It's just kind of weird. It's
Like, thanks.
So it's all
Yeah.
those players that come out
Appreciate
right when like the draft ends, like, oh, they signed to a team.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, no, that happened to somebody I knew, but I don't remember who it was. But yeah, it was
Right.
like, yeah.
Well, that's how a lot of dudes get picked up like free agents. I mean, a lot of big names. Like, I actually just seen the little stat I had posted on my Instagram, but there's more players.
At Beef 31.
I was about to. Yeah, you beat me to it.
Yeah, so apparently there's more players since 2014 or 2013. I don't remember the year, but there's more undrafted free agent players than there were draftees from the
Like still
second
active
to-
on a team.
2nd to 7th round or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
I
that are
remember-
still playing.
I remember a
Oh.
few years ago, the Raiders had like the most. Like that was Reggie McKenzie when he was back there. That was his thing. Like Jalen Richard came on
Oh,
as
yeah,
a
yeah.
walk-on. Yeah, there were
Spook Mullen too.
like half the Raiders training camps were like undrafted free
Undrafted
agent.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Spook
wonder
the
what
Bruhs.
I wonder what the thought process is behind that. Like, is there like a certain type of player that maybe he has a chip on his shoulder like a Keith Smith, or is that just kind of their model of building their team?
I feel like if I was in the back office, I'm looking at numbers.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm drafting somebody, like no matter what round, I feel and obviously it's different player, person to person, player to player, but like I got that title, I got drafted, which coincides with paycheck in my brain.
Yeah.
Compared to undrafted, where it's okay, they didn't really want me, I got to work, so I don't have to pay. You know what I mean? So if I'm drafting somebody, in my mind as a businessman, they might already be thinking that they already got the check. Rather, I bring them in undrafted, then I'm going to get a little more juice from them because they're going to be coming in trying to prove themselves and try to get that check.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking they're entitled to it. So that might be a way. I mean, I've never been in an NFL office.
We have an NFL player right here that
we
didn't
do.
get drafted.
Right.
What was your take?
I honestly think it's just because, all this whole draft process and all of it is just all about potential and what guys are potentially going to be able to be molded into or whatever it is. And so, like, that's why the combine becomes so important to get drafted, and pro day becomes so important to get drafted because they see them numbers and they're like, oh, we can mold this guy into whatever, blah, blah. But I think a lot of it, as far as undrafted free agents, is like those are the football guys who don't necessarily test well or whatever, but you can't deny film. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny film, and a football player is going to be a football player. So sometimes they don't necessarily see the tools that they can use, but they see the film and they're willing to take a chance because some guys don't test well, but they play at a different level. Like Jerry Rice, like he didn't run fast, but yet he's blowing past defenders left and right. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it's just different. As far as I think, that's why my personal advice to all the undrafted dudes and whatnot is just like, don't even worry about even talking to the pre-draft guys working here. I'll be telling them like, don't worry about that combine stuff. Like all that is just for the publicity and the show and everything. Like, just keep your head down and keep grinding because all you really need is one opportunity.
Right.
Because regardless of if you get drafted or not, it's just, do you get money at the front end or the back end? Because, I mean, really, just like that stat I just said that I had seen, there's a lot of them drafted players ain't even playing no more.
Right.
But the undrafted dudes, I mean, this is we I feel like that's probably why the stat is like that, because a lot of the undrafted dudes had to work for this money. You know what I'm saying? They trying to get to that second contract and get to that money. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, aside from just having that passion and that chip on your shoulder, but I think a lot of that goes into the recruiting process of signing free agents and whatnot, because there's a lot of dudes that people don't know about. It's a lot of politics and stuff that come. You see a guy come out of nowhere and he's in his third year in the league, fourth year in the league. You're like, where is this guy at? Everybody in the league knows who is it. His teammates just like, bro, why is this dude not playing? He didn't get drafted in the first round. He didn't get drafted in the first 4 rounds, whatever. But I mean, I just think that's how the league works and how the business and the politics of it works. So that's all I think. Half of the battle of the recruiting process and getting drafted is just beating the politics and whatnot. And the best way to do that is to test well. You know what I'm saying? So.
Now let's talk to someone who was drafted.
Oh gosh.
What's your take on this?
Well, personally, my situation was different. Obviously, I got drafted in the 4th round, but I still had the chip on my shoulder. I think if I would have got drafted in the 1st round, I would have had a chip because I wasn't the first guy off the board. That's just kind of the nature of who I am. But, going into a locker room as a 4th round draft pick, you feel pretty good about yourself. You feel like you're in a good place. But the NFL, and he mentioned it earlier, it's such a business that you might get drafted. I've seen first rounders not play their first year and their second year. And so because of that, it brings awareness to you got to earn your keep no matter if you're a priority free agent or a first round draft pick. So it's really all just the mentality that you have when you get drafted or if you don't get drafted, because some guys don't get drafted but they still feel like, oh, I'm the man, like I did this in college.
Right.
And then there's certain first rounders who get drafted that are like, hey, I want to be a Hall of Famer and I'm going to work and I'm going to do whatever it takes to be the best. So it's really just, it's person to person, man. Everyone's different. Everyone's going to take the approach of how are you going to operate as a professional? If it's forget about what you did in college, it's what you do as a professional. I think that makes a ton of difference, and
Absolutely.
it's more of a personality thing than anything. I mean, this guy was fortunate enough. I mean, he's seen kind of what I did and kind of my mindset every offseason, so he had a little bit of that advantage in that regard. But everybody's different. You might take a difference. You might say, man, I got my bag. I'm a first rounder. Let me take my
Right.
foot off the gas, and that happens a lot of times, unfortunately.
Yeah, and just like he said, but I think just even in your situation, like you didn't play like a fourth rounder, and you knew that, but at the same time, it was like the chip on your shoulder. Like you said, if you was a first rounder and you wasn't the first guy off the board, that's how it's gonna be. But I think that's just how the league mentality is like it's all mental. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you cut guys open and see what they're made of, it's like that's what separates guys in the league. Everybody's talented, everybody's fast, strong, whatever they have, whatever asset they have, but it's that mental gap that separates people. And you see it with these top athletes. Like you see it with Jalen Ramsey and Dez Bryant. You see it like this ultimate confidence that almost comes off as arrogance. I think it's not arrogance. I think it's just believing in your abilities to the best of your ability. Because I feel like I went through that in my career. Like just being an undrafted free agent. Yeah, I had my chip on my shoulder, but that also gave me doubts. So I'm like, okay, let me just make the team. Let me just get in there and let me just stick around. And then like when I got cut 20 times and that mentality was out the door, it was kind of like I don't have anything to lose. Like I'm tired of being average and tired of just barely making it. So like I changed my mindset and I was like, I want to actually do something. I want to actually contribute in my own way that I know I can contribute to. And I think that's just a lot of the difference between a lot of players in the league. And I think that sometimes the draft hurts people. Like he said, like people are different. They get this bag and they just like, oh, I'm good. Like, and you see first rounders just sit around and they lazy. And then when Sugar Honey Iced Tea hits the fan, like
you got kids, right?
Yeah, right.
when it hits the fan, that's when they kind of blossom and they're like, ooh, that's when sometimes they become late bloomers because then they get it like, oh, I gotta work for this. I'm talented, but I can't just sit around and it's not just gonna happen. And so like I think that's part of it, and it's just a whole mentality thing, and I think the draft and everything is just it's kind of an unfortunate thing to where somebody has to put a value on you, you know what I'm saying? But I mean that's just the name of the game. So
that's the whole business of things.
Right.
Because that goes into
Makes
free
money.
agency,
Right.
and we just passed franchise tag Monday, and
Right.
every other thing where everyone's putting the value, and that's why I think NCAA is a robbery, but it's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
So, but you did mention getting cut. You said 20 times. It was a lot. Not to be disrespectful or anything, but I do want to talk about, because you spoke about the mentality, but I want to talk about kind of overcoming. You get brought into training camp undrafted from the Cowboys,
Right.
and then they cut you the first time because they wanted to bring in someone in a different position, and then someone like 2 days later a linebacker gets hurt and they bring you back, and then they want to bring somebody else in, and then you're gone again,
Right.
and then you're back because someone else,
Yo-yo.
back and forth.
Yo-yo life.
Yeah, so you're sitting on the couch. Is there a point where you're like, man, this isn't worth it anymore? Like,
Yeah, I mean, for a second, it was real discouraging and stuff, like going through that. But I've always been an optimist and kind of just looked at the positives. And I think the main thing that kept me going was just belief in myself, and that like a lot of this stuff is out of my control. But at the same time, I had to take accountability as well, because I'm not doing enough to be on the bubble. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not to be on the bubble. So like that also drive me in a sense too. Like after my first year, I was active however many games, like 12 games or whatever. Then then they cut me after the draft. They drafted some backers, cut me. So I'm sitting on the couch for like 3 months.
Now, are you paying attention to the draft as a player? You're
in my position. What I'm like this, like
Praying they don't draft the
linebacker. Oh Lord, but no, like he said, it's just all mentality. Like I was at home for 3 months or however many months it was after they cut me after the draft, and some guys would just sit around and be in their feelings, like feeling sorry for themselves. Oh man, like this could be it. Like dang, I got cut. Blah blah blah. But I really looked at that time. I'm like, this is a whole bunch of free time. Like I was literally working out the morning, afternoon, night, three days, whatever it took. Like, and God's work. I was fortunate enough somebody went down on the Cowboys, and I was brought in, and I've been 3 months. I came in. I was bigger. I was stronger. I was faster. 3 months. 3 days at Stars, like what you mean? Like what you thought was gonna happen? So like literally, I had they worked me. They made me work out. Like after I just played a whole season, they made me work out to see like,
right,
is this dude still Keith Smith? And I'm like, whatever. So I killed the workout, body. Like they made me run. They made me do drills, all that. My special teams coach pulled me to the side and he's like, Beef, you want the juice? And I was like, what? I was like, but it was almost a compliment, just
right,
like to my work ethic, because I'm like, you thought I was just gonna sit on my butt the whole time while I was at home? Like, no, give me all this time, I'm gonna use it. Like, and that's what I did, and it just kind of went from there. And then even like my second year, I mean, I still got cut because of I think D Law got suspended or something. DeMarcus Lawrence got suspended, and after the fourth game, he came back, and then I was back in the yo-yo life. So it was definitely a journey, but I mean, I think just having my faith in God and faith in myself just kind of kept me going the whole time.
Because 20 times, that's not common, right? You hear a guy get cut once or twice, but 20 times, I mean, for one player, it is a lot, man. And was that mentality the same every time you got cut, or was it like, was there one that hurt more than the other?
I think the one that hurt the most was probably after my second year, because it was like I was balling. Like the first year I made the squad. I was on P squad, but I got activated. So out of camp, I made P squad, and
right,
I was on P squad till like week 2 or 3. Then somebody got hurt. Then I got activated, and I was up and down, whatever. So in the back of my head, I'm like, dang, like I kind of made the team, but also like luck was there because this dude got hurt, like, and I'm in there, and I wasn't really playing much anyway. So like I'm like, whatever. And then when I came back, after working out 3 times a day, like I really was making plays, and I felt like this was the first time like I made this, like I made the team out the gate, like I was in there playing and stuff. And then the suspension stuff happened, whatever, and DeMarcus came back, and then I got demoted or whatever. So like that one hurt because I'm like, dang, like that's the point where you gotta really like check yourself. Like,
was that D Law or Rolando, or was Rolando the year before? Because I know there's you got
Roe was my rookie year. Roe was why I was getting activated and deactivated.
Right, yeah, because
so, like,
I remember that.
He would, Rolando, he crazy. He was just like, I'll show up today, or so I'm in the back like, hey, you trying to let me get that game check this week? Like, you know what I'm saying? But I think the second year it was D Law.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but whoever, or it might have been Greg Hardy. So whoever it was, that happened, and
those list of players from the Cowboys is just wild if you think about that.
Got in trouble.
Yeah, it's like Jerry Jones running the circus over there.
He don't even care. He just like, look, y'all nice, just try not to do nothing. in Dallas, whatever. But
Was that your Jerry Jones? That was
That was
That
a
was my
good Jerry
Jones,
Jones.
really.
That
Really.
chop that one up. That one.
But yeah, no, it definitely was a journey, and it was a tough journey, but I think it just made me stronger in the process.
What we got going on? Y'all good? Awkward pause. Hey, write this time down to timestamp it. Okay, sorry, I lost my train of thought with what was going on in the background. Okay, so you get cut. I remember where I wanted to go with this. All right, back into it. You mentioned P Squad. For everyone who doesn't know, I assume you're talking about Practice Squad.
Yeah.
What is that? What are you doing on Practice Squad? Because that's something I've always been curious as someone that's never been, there. You just run and scout the whole time?
Doing everything, literally everything. Like that's pretty what propelled my career was Practice Squad, because it gave me the opportunity to show my talents completely, because like I was literally playing everything. Like I would send JD clips of me as slot receiver or
And I would
split
laugh,
out.
and I would laugh.
Yeah,
You would
split
laugh?
I
out.
would laugh.
But
I would be like,
but-
Were you nice? Were
He
you?
was doing his thing, but I would be like, bro, what are you doing? You're a linebacker. Like, why are you sending me
Right.
clips of offense? Like,
Right, but like I actually started making plays on the starting defense, and like the vets was pulling me aside, like when we were on the sidelines, it was like, bro, you better chill out. You gonna end up on that side of the ball, and I'm like, man, watch out. And sure enough, they the last game of the season after my second year, my running backs coach came up to me. He was like, hey, what you feel about being in the running backs room? And I was like, man, get out of here. Like,
I'm too big for that.
I was like, man, get out of here. Like, just kind of shrugged it off. And he was like, nah, for real. Like, I'm serious. Like, we've been talking about it, like, blah, blah. And, like, I'm just a dude of opportunity. Like, if the opportunity is there, like, I'm going to take it. And so, like, that kind of just propelled me into the transition of being a fullback. So
Now let's get into that. So, was it your last year at Dallas? Right before your last year at Dallas, I guess the reports were that Jason Garrett pulled you aside and basically told you, "Hey, you're a running back now."
Right. Yeah, he it was exit meetings. He was like, "Yeah, I want you to keep it in mind that we're gonna try you out at fullback if it's okay with," or I don't even know if he gave me the option, but I was like, all right, whatever. Like, but yeah. So we get basically 2 breaks in the off season, before OTAs and after OTAs. So that first break, I didn't know what I was doing.
Which is the major off-season kind of between the season ending.
It's the bigger gap. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Which more of the crucial training is after OTAs, but at the same time, like you got a little more freedom in the first half.
Yeah, go vacation, but stay in shape.
Right, exactly. And so like during that break, I was kind of like, man, I'm still working with JD in the footwork drills, doing back pedal, change of direction and stuff, and watching the offensive dudes over there like, dang, I probably should be over there like doing this. So I started working in with Frog and stuff, and I think just doing a lot of the DB work and the change of direction stuff, like I think that helped me, like gave me more tools of change of direction and just that footwork to be able to make the transition to offense, as well as Frog fine-tuning all of that and giving me the whole offensive mentality. I think that all just kind of helped me make that transition smoothly, and which it ended up being doing good, because going into OTAs, I wasn't the favorite guy. Like they converted me. They actually didn't re-sign our old fullback. They banked on making Rod Smith the big tailback in Dallas right now. They switched him to fullback as well as me, but he was the favorite. So like he was getting all the reps and stuff, and all that in OTA. So I would get like 2 reps in practice and whatnot, whatever, which sucked. But till camp came, where we put the pads on, it was like Rod was was a finesse tailback. He wasn't really trying to hit nobody, and
Right.
that's when I kind of made my noise. Like, and I was athletic enough to run routes and whatnot. So like. And my hands was nice, you know. I got the best hands at Stars, so like I kind of just used that tool as well, and it just all kind of played in perfectly.
When that meeting was done with Coach Garrett and you shut the door, you walk away. At any point where you're like, okay, a position change in the NFL, like that doesn't happen often. Was it one of those things where, like, is this the writing on the wall? Is this, like, them trying to push me out? Or
Absolutely.
how did you feel?
Absolutely. It was kind of nerve-wracking because it was like, dang, like, they don't want me at
Because you didn't play
linebacker.
fullback. I mean, you didn't play offense in high school. You didn't play it in college.
Right.
But now, all of a sudden, you're in the
Yeah.
NFL after being cut a number of times. They say, hey, try this new position. This might work. This might look good on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I was saying, like, that first break, I kind of just was like, I hadn't accepted it yet.
Oh, get me right. Yeah. It's my boy, man. Get me right, Jay.
That's what I was saying. In the first break, I hadn't accepted yet. So, like, I was still working on both. Like, man, it's not for sure yet. But when I got back to Dallas for, like, OTA workouts and stuff, like, I'll tell you what really, like, flipped my mindset was we were starting to learn a little bit of the scheme and whatnot. And Jason Witten, he pulls me aside and he's like, what do you got on Act 5 protection? And I was like, Mike to safety. And he was like, see, that's that. He was like, that's that bullshit. He was like, you need to notice at the back of your hand, like the back of your hand. He was like, these dudes didn't make that transition for any reason. They actually believe in you and they actually believe that you can do this. And he was like, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, like I've seen you in scout, like doing all this, like you have what it takes. You can do this, like, and I believe in you as well. And he was like, but you need to learn this stuff like the back of your hand or because if they throw you in the fire and you don't know what you're doing, then they're not even gonna give you a chance. So, like, that right there was, like, I was sitting there like, dang,
that's Jason
Witten, the GOAT. Like, he was one of the greatest tight ends of all time. He believed in me. So, I was like, okay, like, that
Is one of the greatest. He's coming back.
Right.
Not one of the greatest commentators of all time, but players.
Tony, however, Tony
Tony,
Romo.
they need to take Chris Collinsworth or who's in Madden right now. Dude from NFL Network.
Is it Burma? No.
I just know. I only remember Collinsworth is the only guy that.
Well, they need to take both them out of Madden and just put Tony Romo in my ear.
Oh,
on
in the
Madden.
game, the video game.
Yeah. Take them out of
They
Madden.
gotta put Tony in there.
They need Tony. I need to be playing. I need to be playing defense on Madden and hear the whole offensive play in my headset before it goes off on Madden.
At least in one game during the season, gotta have Tony in there.
I mean, is second year doing this?
Tony Ramos.
And he already was doing. He did the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl,
He did
right?
the Super Bowl, yeah.
That's crazy.
Second year. His
That's
first
cool.
game was Raiders Titans 2 years ago. Dory's rookie game. First game.
Wow. Did y'all win?
Yeah, we won.
Oh, okay.
Raiders
We
won.
But I wasn't
You
we
weren't
there.
there.
We won. Yeah. I think Amari Cooper scored on a nice slant on a Dory. Where are Dory at?
Yeah, he didn't wrap up. He did a poor job tackling on that play.
But he did hurdle the hell out of
kicker. I remember
Trevecchio,
that.
the opening kickoff that
Oh, for real?
game. Yeah.
That's dope.
Oh
That's
God,
dope.
it's fun. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting my Raider back. What are we talking about?
Cowboys.
Cowboys. Yeah. Jason Witten and your transition. Real quick, was your number the same the whole time? 41.
Nah, I have 4. I think I have 5 now. I don't even know now.
I'm talking about Cowboys though. Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Cowboys.
You had like 5 numbers too.
Yeah, I had 57. No,
30.
first number was 43.
Okay.
Then I had 57. Then I had 56. Then 41.
Okay, but did you have 41 coming off of that last year as linebacker?
No.
So did you show up and they had because that's what I'm picturing is you like were like, oh man, they full of BS, like I'm a linebacker. Then you come into the locker room and it's just a running back's number just posted in the locker,
Right,
name tape
nah.
change.
That's not mine.
Yeah. Who's locking this?
Nah, when I came back, they were like, you're gonna have to change your number, blah blah. And then I was like, dang, like this is for real. So then I just kind of was looking. I actually looked online at like what numbers look good. I was like,
did you
I
go to
football.
create a player and Madden was like, let me get the cowboy jersey on. Let's
Right.
see what number looks good. Because my number, honestly, my lucky number 72. But whenever I played for the Ravens, I had to have a 3 in there and a 34 because those were the coolest looking numbers
Right.
with the little angle of the
I
jerseys.
know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, so you play 1 year in Dallas fullback, right? You have a good year. Then you hit free agency.
2 years.
2 years. Excuse me. Sorry, 2 years. I want to talk about that free. Was that something that you elected to do? Was like, I want to go test the markets, or were you were given the heads up?
No, that's the craziness about our CBA agreement right now. Is just it's terrible. After my 4th year, I was still a restricted free agent. So it all
You wanna
depended on
explain
Dallas. So that's what I was gonna say. It all depended on Dallas. So Dallas had my rights as far as basically what I could do. So they could put a tender on me, which is only undrafted players get tendered, which they put a value on you, a draft value, and then basically, if you're either a first round tender, second round tender, or late round tender, is the third one, I think. And basically, if they do tender you, you get whatever the value is set for that draft round tender. So like sometimes, I think this year the first round tender is like $3 million or $4 million. So you get that value for 1 year, and then you hit free agency as an unrestricted free agent after that year.
Okay.
But say if they tender you, and so anybody can offer you, right?
Right.
It's so complicated. Anybody can offer you, but the Cowboys hold my rights, so they have the right to match it.
Right.
So if they don't match it and they let me go to a team, then that team not only has to pay me that round tender, they have to give up the draft round pick of the round tender. So really they would have put a late round tender on me, and if somebody else tried to sign me and they didn't match it, then that team would have had to give up a late round draft
Is
pick.
that where those compensation picks come into play later on?
I don't
Where
know
the
where
league
those
just be
come from.
handing out late round picks for no reason?
Yeah,
Because I never understood why.
I don't even know what those are.
Because I remember like 4 years ago, it's like, oh yeah, the Raiders got 4
Compensatory.
compensatory 7th round picks, and I was like,
Right.
for what? Like it was the year like we went like 4-0. Derek Carr's rookie year, and like the next year we had like an extra 7-round pick. It was the year we drafted. Dude was here, defensive back.
Here, like at Stars here?
Yeah, from I think Utah.
Oh, Keith
Oh,
McGill.
Keith.
Yeah, he was one of our
Compensatory.
yeah
picks.
compensatory. Yeah, he was one of those random picks.
Right.
I'm
right.
pretty sure. Yeah.
But Dallas didn't end up tendering me, so I was unrestricted. So it worked out because I love where I'm at, and my special teams coach from Dallas actually is like best friends with Gruden, and so when Gruden got the job, it was kind of known in Dallas like, oh, Versace about to leave, like he about to go with his guy. So he literally left, and like before he left, the last day I was in Dallas, or the last day I seen him in Dallas, he was like, Beef, he was like, you a free agent this year, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm restricted. He was like, I'm coming to get you. So I was like, say no more. So he ended up coming to get me, and it only worked out better that they didn't tender me. So it was cool.
But that's got to feel good. I mean, coming from a coach, like, and that's the weird thing about the NFL. Like, you very rarely have somebody tell you that they want you. They
Right.
appreciate the work that you do. And so for that, I'm sure, despite all the ups and downs
Right,
and getting
absolutely.
cut. Like to hear a coach say that, it's got to feel good because he doesn't have to say that. Like
Right.
he doesn't have to just bullcrap you like that. But at that moment, I'm pretty sure you're like, okay, like maybe I can do this league
What?
thing. You know?
It absolutely felt good because that was like the first time I kind of like felt wanted, like you said, and so like when I got to Oakland, like they was just showing me love and like. I'm like, oh, this is nice.
I bet you that was even over Bisaccia. Just you're. I've seen the label on you a lot, and Gruden has a Gruden grinder.
Right.
Just a big meaty MFer that just gets in the trenches and likes to put his head down
Right.
and hit things.
Right.
And like from I'll see who we're bringing. Let me go watch the highlight film. Let me go see what this person's about, and I'll go back a couple years and just see. And the second I seen your tape, I got excited, and I don't get excited over fullbacks. Not no offense, you got to make fullbacks great again hat on, but fullbacks, you're in there, you do your job, and then you go home. It's kind of like
It's an O-lineman.
yeah, it's a chipper position, and it really is like an O-line because you have to know everyone's responsibility.
Right.
Just like the guard needs to know the center and the tackle's responsibilities, you need to know the running back and the wide receivers and the quarterbacks and the O. You
Right.
probably need to know just as much as DC4 back there.
Almost.
Almost, yeah.
Right.
So I just think it's a great fit, and I hope you make it to Vegas. But
Yeah.
I do want to talk about, Jason Garrett, Jerry Jones, the Cowboys' legendary organization. Right. Now you're going to
The Raiders.
the Raiders.
Another legendary.
Another one, Al Davis, rest his soul, isn't there, but it's still in the family. Mark's there.
Right.
But then, to boot, you have probably one of the most influential coaches. As a fan, I could say this. Every offseason, my dad would call me up. Hey, we didn't have a good year. You think we're going to bring back Gruden? I'm like, no, we're not. That's not a thing. And then finally the rumblings start happening. He announces he's leaving ESPN and all this, and then he
Right.
comes. And the fan base erupts. Then they announce what he got paid to kind of slow down a little bit. But, everyone's getting excited, and everyone's excited. The excitement is building.
Right.
Do you feel that coming in?
Oh yeah.
You said
absolutely.
you said you were getting love from the locker room. I'm sure that the fans were
definitely the aura was definitely like crazy, especially with Gruden's arrival, and just all the hype around that and whatnot. There was definitely a big aura around the facility and a lot of enthusiasm and whatnot, but also expectation, and I think that's what kind of didn't go in our favor this year, the year that we had.
right.
And it kind of pissed a lot of people off. But if you really look at the season and look at the games in depth, we really was playing with a lot of guys, with a lot of teams. And it was just like we didn't start gelling till the end of the season. And a lot of people don't understand how a locker room works. And
Right.
with all these pieces moving around, we lose Khalil Mack, we lose Amari Cooper week 7 or whatever it was. Like, these are our best players, so you got to understand, like, there's a shockwave that goes through the locker room,
And especially
and things
that
like
offense.
Jay, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
As a fan,
Got it.
do you see those moves happen? What is going on in your head?
Right.
Like, what are you feeling? And
Are
I
you
know
asking
you're not,
me?
And I know you're not speaking for all fans, but just you personally. You see Amari leave. You see Khalil leave. What is going on?
So can we start with the timeline, Khalil Mack? I remember the exact second, day, minute. I know exactly what I was doing. I was at work in a box in the military, miserable, listening to a Raiders podcast, being like, oh, man, they ain't going to trade. Vic Tafer from The Athletic just being like, oh, man. He's talking about, I don't see them doing it. And I'm just scrolling on timeline. And then Adam Schefter pops up on my damn phone. And my stomach just sank. Khalil Mack was probably one of my favorite players on the team at that point. So that one hurt. That one I was like, I can't believe they did it. This, that, whatever. Then I'm starting to like, all right, well, what, then I go, what do we get back? First round, and then the reports are coming out, and the player. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe we got like because they had that, I forget his name, but the linebacker that they had drafted the year before. Was it that year or the year before? I can't remember his name, but there were reports that it might have been the rookie that they traded. And I was like,
Markel?
Yeah, I think so. I forget where is. I can't. Brandon, can you look that up? I think he was a rookie last year. Last year was his second year. Bears linebacker. But anyways, there are reports of speculation he might be coming. I'm like, okay.
Oh, you talking about from the Bears?
Chicago.
From the Bears.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that it's not Khalil Mack, but it's like, okay.
Kukowski from West Virginia?
No,
it wasn't Nick.
maybe,
I gotta tell you about him too.
Kukowski.
but
Regardless. Tell us about how you're feeling.
regardless. So I'm having mixed emotions. I'm like going back and forth. I'm like, Khalil Mack, and then the Raider fan, the homebody in me starts saying, oh well. He didn't want to be here anyway, but
he never liked Oakland anyway.
Yeah, but at
Traitor.
the end of the day, that kind of me, I feel like I'm more of a level-headed fan, even though I held on to my Jamarcus Russell jersey way too long. Yeah, that thing, I was sporting that thing. He'll be fine. He's gonna lose the weight. But yeah, I have nothing but love for Khalil Mack. I wish him the best. Every game I was cheering against him, because I wanted that first-round pick to be a nice one.
Right.
But that's the only thing. After this season, I want Khalil Mack to get a ring. I hope they do well. Like to see him succeed. Now, Amari Cooper, that's a different story. Especially after Amari got to Dallas. As a fan.
Sick.
He was balling.
Sick.
The on the field doesn't bother me because there were some flashes of what he did in Oakland, being wide open down the field and dropping the ball. Right. So obviously I'm not in that skill. He's getting the check.
Salt.
There's
Little salt.
little salt right. Look, because both my uncles are big Cowboys fans, so they're texting me and my dad because me and my dad are Raiders fans. Oh, like you guys know more about Cooper, and then my dad kind of privies to me because I'm more of like my dad likes the Raiders. I'm more like I'll actually pay attention to more of the Raiders. Right. And I'm like, well, I mean, I like Cooper. He's kind of reliable, but third down, 4 yards to go, he runs a slant, he's wide open, and he drops the ball. Or, Derek Carr, he's wide open down the field, and it's like it looks like he gave up a little bit, And I see that just to poke fun at the Dallas fans, I'm like, you guys are getting a great receiver who gives up if the team is down in the third quarter. Like, just poking fun. So that was kind of how I was feeling, but it wasn't until Amari's personality came out more, and I got the feeling, and I don't know him personally, so this is all speculation, he never enjoyed being in Oakland, and he didn't like being a Raider.
And I actually had this conversation with my cousin who's a Cowboys fan, and he's like, he was really like, trying to downplay the trade, blah blah. Like, man, why we trade for Amari? Blah blah. He ain't done nothing. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, bruh, like you don't understand what y'all get. Y'all getting a gem who has all. He's a generational talent who has all these attributes that can be utilized. All he needs is a change of scenery.
Right.
And I said this before he started balling. I was like, look, like. I feel like hands and catching the ball is more of a mental and concentration type thing,
right?
And confidence, and I think that his time in Oakland, I don't think that I think he was pressured a lot, and I don't think that it just was the right scenery for him as far as to thrive in that element, and I was like, y'all, you crazy to tell me that y'all not about to do it. He's literally gonna change y'all game because he's gonna open up the field. Teams are gonna have to worry about Amari because he has that speed, quickness. Like I've never seen anybody run routes like this dude. Like it's crazy. And so like when that happened, I was like, dang, this might be exactly what he needs for his career. From a personal perspective, I mean, I know I was sick like from my team's perspective, because it was like, dang, we just lost Amari Cooper. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But I was actually happy for him because I felt like he was going to do some big things with it.
How does that impact the locker room when stuff like that happens? Does it become not a cancer, but can you hear the whispers in the locker room or guys being distracted now at practice talking about those transactions that are happening?
He was pulled
Right.
off the practice field.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was pulled
He was.
off the practice
I
field,
forgot
the middle of
about that.
practice.
Yeah, like just like I
Damn.
said, like that's why I was saying, like there's a ripple that goes through the locker room. Like people don't understand, like all these moving pieces. Like it's not easy to focus on football alone and your craft when there's all this stuff going on. Because now you questioning, like, man, what is really going on? Like,
Right.
you trying to rate all our best players, but I think that's just Gruden is like. He's a genius. He's a mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I just know from being in meetings and hearing his scheme and everything, like he knows what he's doing. So like, I think it took guys a second to like really just accept it. Like, okay, like we're in a rebuilding phase. Like he's trying to take this team where it hasn't been before for a reason. And I mean, I can see where he's coming from. One, he didn't have the money to pay Khalil Mack. Two, Amari Cooper, he didn't fit his vision.
Right.
I don't think he fit his vision to what he.
I would agree
he's
with
seeing.
that.
You know what I'm saying? So like, he's trying to do what he sees that's gonna bring us to the ultimate goal. It was a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
The one thing, and not to interrupt, but the one thing I will say for Raiders fans, and I heard this a lot, and this is where the sentiment came into my head, Oakland didn't want to be there, is he had 1 year left on that deal. He could have just shown up and, you know, maybe he would have got tagged, maybe he would have gotten a deal, maybe he would have walked at the end of this season. You know, he could have played out that deal. But it's also a business aspect. You don't want to get hurt in training camp, so I understand the sin now.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm not trying to say he should have been there the whole training
also,
camp.
you gotta realize, DC just got paid
Right.
$100 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you the best player on the team and you seeing this guy getting $100 million, it's like almost a slap in the face at the same time. Not to say that he should have got paid before DC, but I think that's why he wanted to get paid the year after. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, he deserved
well,
it
not
completely.
not even that, but you paid the guard Gabe Jackson.
Right.
That was like
right. So he got that
60
cash.
or- yeah.
So he got that cash too. But also, I think it was a statement for Khalil Mack from the players. Like, he's only locked in because of this BS CBA agreement. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? This 5th-year option stuff, like whatever. He literally could have got 5th-year option, franchise tag. He wouldn't have got his deal potentially for 4 more years. You know what I'm saying? So like, as a human being, as a person, you gotta be selfish sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I have no doubt in my mind just from being around my teammates and stuff and them talking about what type of dude Khalil is. I have no doubt in my mind that he was probably at home hurting. Like, all my boys is over there grinding. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was probably itching. Like, I should be there right now. But at the same time,
He
you
tweeted, "I miss football," and then Derek Carr tweeted him back, "I miss you."
That's some DC stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think from a player's perspective, it's a lot of stuff you can't control, and especially with that contract stuff, like the CBA agreement stuff, like that's tough. It's tough situation, just like Le'Veon. Like, a lot of people don't understand his moves, but
Right.
he's trying to make a
Oh
statement.
no,
as
I
well.
understand his moves loud and clear. Yeah, I feel like Le'Veon's moves are loud and clear and understandable, bold memo. But I do want to talk more about your time in Oakland. As far as, before we get off this topic though, I want to, because you were in that locker room, as fans and people watching, Amari came off as kind of a shy, timid personality. As far as in Oakland, I remember his rookie press conference, one of the reporters was like, "Oh, do you have a celebration in mind now that they lifted the celebration rules?" He goes, "No," and like didn't even move.
Right.
no, I'm gonna hand the ball to the ref, like something like that. And then he gets to Dallas and he's wilding on post game.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
I think
Whole new
that's
person.
Dallas,
Yeah.
though. Like just that locker room over there is real tight knit too, and I mean, I think that just the new scenery gave him a new confidence as well. But just knowing the bit of Amari that I did know, he wasn't really like out there like that. So like even when we would see the clips on TV, dudes just like, bro, you see Amari out here celebrating and stuff? Like he acting
They couldn't
totally
believe it.
different. But I mean, I just think that's why I think that he was just in his head in Oakland and just
Right.
what he's been through out there. So I mean, it's a tough situation, but I mean, God don't make mistakes. Like I said, like he doing his thing.
Now you said in the middle of the season you guys realized that Gruden was rebuilding. At what point did the locker room start discussing like, ooh, this isn't going to be what the expectations had for us coming into this season. We got to just grind, keep our head down because Gruden working in the back and we just, like, how quick did that happen with Khalil Mack trade? Like, y'all was like, woo, or?
I think it was the final straw was the Amari trade.
Okay.
Because, like, literally he cleared shop out there. Like, he fired the whole media staff. He fired the film guys. And these are guys who've been around 20, 30
Yeah, he
years.
fired Greg Papa, one of my favorite color commentators ever.
Right, yeah, like he just trying to get his people in there. So, I mean, after the Amari trade, it was like, dude, nobody's safe. Like, we just gotta like keep grinding. You know what I'm saying? And then guys kind of, I know dudes was kind of pissed for a second, but I think it was just the trust factor that you gotta have in a person in his position. Like he's got to know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't put him there for a reason. He didn't get there for no reason. And I think that's when everybody started to gel. But as well as just our whole scheme and system started to gel because Gruden puts in a million things, you know what I'm saying, and it takes time to get that under your belt. And once we started to get that, we were hard to stop at the end of the season. Like we were playing with dudes left and right, beat the Steelers, and I won't mention the Chiefs game, but the first Chiefs game we almost beat the Chiefs. Like we should have beat the Chiefs. Like there's a lot of games that we should have won that we didn't, but I think it's just we need to take it to another step, and just having this scheme under our belt for a whole year, I think that's just going to take us from where we left off, and it's going to get better.
And hopefully having a healthy offense.
Right,
Because if we just go down the list of names, Amari Cooper was out the
I ain't
window.
even mention that.
Jordy Nelson got injured at one point. Martavis Bryant got suspended twice.
We got two rookie tackles.
Right. Marshawn
that
Lynch got
had to grow.
injured.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Donald Penn was injured. The guards were injured. I think Rodney Hudson was injured for a game.
Yeah.
And then the whole fan base calling for
and then Bruce Irvin left.
Bruce Irvin. See, I want to get into that too.
Did he leave or did he quit?
We're gonna get into Bruce. Let's finish on the offense real quick because I got some choice words for Bruce. I want to get your opinion on that. But then you have the whole fan base. Marshawn Lynch gets injured. Then you have the whole fan base basically cheering, say, "Oh, Derek Carr, he's been injured too much and he doesn't have his mojo back. Trade him." And you have First Take going crazy, ESPN going crazy. How do you, being somebody in the offense? You and DC and Richard were probably, and Seth Roberts were probably some of the people that were there, I think, every game without injury.
Right.
How do you guys remain focused and don't just pack it in, just say, we got a new tackle again? Or
Right. It's tough. It's tough, man. Injuries are part of the game, and they gonna happen. And I didn't even harp on that. Like we had an abnormal amount of injuries last year, and I think part of it was we're an old team, literally.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like that's the name of the game. Somebody gonna go down, so the next guy got to step up. So I think that. I don't think we really worried about that because that you have to expect that not everybody's gonna be healthy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's just how it goes. But it was tough having guys out sometimes. But I mean, I feel like those also down the road gonna help, just like with our tackles. I think that's gonna help them because they were thrown in the fire, and that sometimes builds character, builds talent, like all that. Like you have to learn. You're forced to learn from experiences like that, and I think that's just what this last season has done for us, is got a lot of the young guys experience. So going from here, now there's no excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like, we out here, like we you gotta show up. But I mean, I think there's a real optimistic feel in the locker room, in the coaching staff, and you say like everybody's doubting TC. Like I used to watch, like, see on Twitter sometimes or on Instagram posts or whatever, like just everybody bashing DC. Everybody like, oh, there's speculations that Gruden didn't mess with DC.
I'm not one of those people, by the way. I want to put that out there. I am a huge DC fan.
But I don't think anybody in the locker room really doubted DC. So
we talked about offense and kind of the shambles it became during the season. So defensive side of the ball, you mentioned Bruce Irvin. Honestly, I think defense has improved a lot since the years before. I think the defense is looking way better as far as a good young nucleus on the interior defensive line with P.J. Hall, Mo Hurst, Arden Key. I think our DBs are better than they've been in years.
Shout out to Daryl Worley.
Conley, Carl Joseph. Linebackers, I think Markel Lee. But I think a lot of the fan base will say that the Raiders haven't had a consistent linebacker since Kirk Morrison left in like 04 or 010. 2010, whenever he left.
He was a baller, though.
He was, yeah.
He was a baller.
Yeah. Do you ever get that itch and whisper into Gruden? Did you
That's
ever
a
do
good
that during the year
question.
and say, hey,
That's a great
question.
question.
Two linebackers got injured this year.
listen,
We're down to.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it. I seen that and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I know
like-
a guy who might be available.
No, I used to throw that out there all the time to my special teams coach and even to Gruden, but I knew that wasn't really like. I feel like that part is behind me unless like something crazy happens. Only because Gruden almost didn't want me playing special teams at one point. Like he was like,
Right.
I don't want my fullback out there in special teams.
Because
Like,
Gruden loves his fullback.
yeah, so like I just don't think that he would do that like from that aspect. But I definitely be having the itch, like ready to get out there, even in scout team, like trying to get some reps. But
Man, speaking of Gruden and his fullbacks, Allstott. I'm sure you've probably seen what he was able to do with Allstott and some of the creative ways he was able to get him involved when he was there blocking for work done. How much of that have you paid attention to as far as scheme-wise, some of the stuff he may have done with Allstott? Are you hoping that you get a chance to do some of those Allstott type things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think me and Allstott's game is a little different as far as he's more of a true big running back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he was a good blocker as well, but he would line up at tailback, and that's really not my forte.
You've had some single back.
I have. I'm not saying I can't do that,
You
but
need
like,
that first touchdown this year.
I don't think. Right, I don't think that that's Gruden's first priority is to put me at tailback, but I think that there's a lot of things that Gruden can do with me, and he's starting to learn that more just as like practice goes and whatever. But I mean, he's also told me like in the exit meeting, like just the way the season didn't go, like he wants to incorporate me more into the offense. I mean, a lot of times we were playing from behind, so it was hard to incorporate the two back offense. But he definitely is creative, and I definitely be seeing film on Allstott and his old fullbacks, and it'd be dope because Gruden's a real old school dude. Like he'll put on some tape from like 1980, 1990, like.
I'm so glad you didn't say 2000, bro. I was about to be like, come on, man. One of the things I do want to talk about, maybe you can share some insight. That fullback position and the way that you play it, because there are fullbacks around the league that are, I don't want to call them finesse, but there aren't too many old school guys who would just bang
Right.
and really try to punish people as part of their game.
I don't think there's like 5.
Yeah, and
I can't.
but which is good, because I think you almost like a tone setter, if you will,
Yeah,
for like
yeah.
a game. Like if I'm a coach and I want to set the tone for the game, I want to let this guy just run full speed into a linebacker or defensive end. But tell me about that mentality, because it's a rare trait, I believe, in the NFL now. And you wear people down, man. And how do you feel as a fullback going into a game knowing like, hey, I'm going to have to punish people every now and then when my number gets
Right.
called?
I think I get that mentality from being on the defensive side. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, when you playing linebacker, you just trying to run and hit all day anyways. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, just transitioning that mentality to the offensive side, it's just like, okay, I'm about to just tackle this dude, but I just can't hold him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to hit him as hard as I can, just like I would as a linebacker. So, I mean, that's always been my mentality in football, is just trying to bust somebody's mouth open. And, I mean, I think that just worked in my favor playing fullback.
So you mentioned Bruce Irvin, so I want to get into this real quick because I'm not letting this go. He asked for his release, which he was a big leader in the defensive locker room and the whole team locker room. They called him Baby McKenzie. He was actively trying to get players to come during the offseason. And then it looks like he gives up midseason. As far as the film, there's plays of him coming out of his stance and taking a step and then just standing there, not doing anything. He asked for his release, and then he signs with Atlanta, and then reports come out. First practice, he runs onto the practice field yelling, "I'm free, I'm free, I'm free."
Sometimes I don't really see too much of the defensive side that goes on, but I did peep that they were really just plugging guys in, trying to see. It was almost like experiment on
Throwing
that side of the
stuff
ball.
on the wall, seeing if it sticks.
Yeah. So like, I think his tipping point was when one game they didn't give him like barely any reps. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And like he's our best pass rusher, so it's like, why not? So I mean, I didn't I couldn't really understand what was going on, but like that's just kind of the stuff that I had seen.
My belief that his tipping point was after the Khalil Mack got traded, John Gruden did a press conference and was basically kind of being like, well, now it's time for Arden Key to step up. And then Bruce went on Twitter and was like, no, it's my time. And I think that kind of from my opinion, shook him the wrong way. Was like, damn, you already counted me out. Like, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Like, fool, man. But it's time. It's almost time to wrap it up now. So, you went undrafted. You said 6 years, right? 6? Year 6 into the league. Just
Right.
what's the experience been like? Like ups, downs, trials, turbulations. Like
It's really been a blessing, man. Because at this point, it's not really much I got to worry about. You know, I'm still in the fold, and preparing for this next year. I'm in a good place mentally, and it's just now it's just transitioning. Like I'm trying to get into a lot of different stuff outside of football as well. You know what I'm saying? And just because you get to that 5th, 6th year, you like, dang, I've been doing this for a minute, man. You can't play football forever. So
right.
So I think that it's just been a blessing, and just all the things I've learned, and the relationships I've had and made with people. So it's definitely been a journey.
So
How do you stay hungry? Like, what do you work on? I mean, is that chip on your shoulder still there? I know you said you feel good mentally, but what drives you today? Because you're not that free agent that
Right.
got overlooked. You know, you've obviously have proven yourself in the NFL, but what pushes you and motivates you today to keep going to play 7 years, 8 years in the NFL?
Right. I think it's just the love for the game. Part of it is just like I've been playing this my whole life, and it's not like I don't love this game anymore, because you gotta love it if you want to play at this level. And there's also things I want to prove. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I've been up with the best of them who are Pro Bowlers and whatnot, and I just feel like there's a lot of stuff I still want to prove out there. You know what I'm saying? And just winning a championship, I want to help my team win a championship as well, and bring the Raiders back to where they were, especially going into Vegas and whatnot. So there's a lot of motivating factors as well as just setting up my daughter and my future family for success and being able to take care of them as well from a financial perspective. So there's plenty of things that keep me going, but just also proving to myself that just to have no regrets and just play it out as much as you can.
Well, you're at Stars, obviously working this offseason. Tell us about Stars. Tell us about your experience and why you come back every offseason, year after year, and what you enjoy most about the setting here at Stars.
It's just family atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you get back here, it's like home. So as far as just whether it's the trainers and working with you or Frog or whoever, it's like it's always good, genuine business and good, genuine work. So you never are surprised here. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just the best thing anybody can ask for in any business is consistency. And when you're consistent and you still getting results from whatever you're doing, it's a no-brainer to come back. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been like that here, and just good people. So just I think it's life a lot of times is all about vibes, and there's no negative vibes here ever.
Now, as off season is getting heated up right now, we just finished the combine. Like I said earlier, franchise tags just happened. We're about to get into that free agency period.
Right.
Is there anybody that around the league that you know, future free agent or free agent right now, that you're like, hey,
Come through.
come here.
Man, I don't know. You was talking about AB earlier. I mean, it'd be dope to play with AB.
Would you be upset if we traded our second round pick or any of the 3 first round picks for AB?
I wouldn't be upset. I
No?
wouldn't be upset about that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got 12 first round picks this year, so it's like we can give up one. But I think Gruden's gonna use those picks to leverage. You know what I'm saying? And people gonna trade up or whatever, because we got a lot of money to spend too, as well as draft picks. So I think he's definitely gonna bring in some good help.
Anybody in particular you want to see come from another team over to the silver and black?
I don't. I honestly don't care as long as they gonna contribute. You know what I'm saying? As long as they gonna come and ready to work. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's one of the things we're trying to change over there is the culture, and just that losing isn't okay. And I think that we trying to change the mentality and get good guys in there. You know what I'm saying? Guys who are willing to help the cause and not just collect the check.
Is Marshawn going to be back in that locker room with y'all?
Man, I hope so, bro. That's my dude, man. Marshawn, he not only is he a great player, but he's a great person and a great leader. And he's always trying to uplift those around him. And it's all fun and games on TV and stuff. You hear him joking around, but he really cares about his teammates and whatnot. And he's never shy to help out anybody, whether it's on the field or off the field.
All right. What did you think? One question for you, JD. When this man came in and was like, I got to start taking reps with the offense, what was going through your mind?
I was in shock, probably a lot like he was, because I was thinking, I mean, I've watched this kid, first off, and quick story, he wasn't the best athlete growing up. So I'm going to put that, and he knows that. I've shared this before. He wasn't the greatest of athletes. So once that happened,
He was
like,
clumsy, man.
Bro,
I was fat.
I'll let him tell it. I'll let him tell it.
I was a piece of work. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely needed some help.
But when he told me they were serious about the position change, what I did know was that he was going to work. And anytime you have somebody that's willing to work and they have a good work ethic, anything is possible. So despite the position change, they could have asked him to play quarterback. I knew he would have worked his butt off to be, no, seriously, I knew he would have worked his butt off to be the best quarterback. So after I kind of got over the shock of him moving positions, I knew, okay, if he takes it on full speed and full steam ahead like he does everything else in life, he'll be fine. But when I would see him over there with Coach Frog, I'd be like, this doesn't even look right. Like, I'm used to my man backpedaling and breaking, but he proved a lot of people wrong, including myself, man, and I'm very proud of him. I think he has a bright future no matter what position it is and no matter what team it is. I think he has, 4 or 5 years left in him if he continues to work, which, clearly going into year 6 undrafted is not easy to do. So, but yeah, bro, I was a little taken back and still trips me out, man. Even today watching him run routes on the field, I'm still watching like, this guy looks pretty good. Looks like he plays offense for real. So.
Well, what was harder, learning the defensive playbook or learning an offensive playbook? I'm assuming John Gruden's playbook is a different beast. But
Yeah, I'll probably say offense only because it's like a whole different language and trying to learn it that quick. So it was a little tougher. But, there's a lot of defensive playbooks that are hard out there too because, in Dallas, we played a simple cover 2 defense, which is just run and hit, sprinkle in a little 3 and quarters, whatever. But it wasn't like as vast as say like Pittsburgh or one of those 3-4 defenses that they do everything, or even what's Gunther's? Gunther's defense is crazy too. Just knowing what they got to do, but probably offense for sure.
All right. Well, we could sit here all day and chop it up, but we all got work to do.
Yeah, let's bring Keith back towards the end of the off season or maybe in the summertime, man. And
we'll bring him back February after the Super Bowl when he wins it, when he can bring his ring. But thank you for stopping by and taking the time out. This has been the Stars Experience. Man. Where can people find you at, Keith?
I'm on Twitter at K_Smith31. That's my old college number. And then on Instagram, I'm at Beef31.
Okay. And like I said, everybody, make sure you go subscribe on the YouTube. Hit the bell for the notification so you get alerted when we drop a new episode. Subscribe on the iTunes. Follow on Spotify, Google Play, everywhere podcasts are available. And give us a rate and tell us who you would like to see next on the Stars Experience. And if you have any questions for the next time we get Mr. Keith Smith here, drop those in the comments below. Jay, do you got anything left for the people?
Thank you for letting me join you, man. This is a pleasure.
Oh, yeah, this is fun.
Man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
We're going to keep this up. Thank y'all for checking in the Stars Experience. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
I just pull up on I just pull up on occasion. I spice it up like it's Cajun. Never ask for location. Then I'm gone.